$2,000 stimulus checks may be coming to a mailbox near you, but it's probably dead in the Senate. Hey everybody, JJ here. Bullet, boom, bear, bust. It's December 28th, 2020. It's Monday. Thank you for joining me. Oh, I feel good today. I hope you're feeling good. I actually got a lot of sleep last night, which is not typical for me. But let's get into some news here. This is changing from one day to the next, right? One day it's going to be 600 checks, and one day it's not going to be any checks, and it's going to be 2,000. Now it's got to get voted on in the Senate. Can we just please let this whole system collapse? Let all the politicians lose their jobs, and can we transition into something different, please? Because this is getting old. All right, but nonetheless, we're trapped here. We're stuck in the system, and a lot of people need these checks. What are the odds of having a $2,000 check sent out? Well, you know the plan, right? You know the scheme. One side says, okay, let's do it. The other side says, no, we don't like this other part of the, we don't like this other pork. We don't like this part of the bill. You have to take this out. Goes back to the other side. Okay, how's about this? Send it back to the other side. They say, no, you got to change this. Go back to the other side, right? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finger pointing, left versus right. Divide and conquer. Right? So you've got both of these parties pointing the finger back and forth at each other. In the meantime, millions of people are about ready to lose their homes. Roughly 6 million people are behind on their mortgages and their rents. Right? The only thing preventing massive surge in homelessness is these moratoriums, the government intervention, the foreclosure prevention programs. Right? They've got millions of people where they want us, and even the people that are doing well right now, it's not going to be for long, because when your entire customer base, or what you depend on to get your income, when that dries up, right, when most of the population is broke, how many customers will you have at your business? How many customers will you have at your job where you work at right now? All right, so you may be in the top 20%, 30%, maybe even in the top 10%. But at the end of all this crooked banking scheme right here that we're in right now, the end of this, just this sick economic system, it's likely only going to be the top 1% that really are going to be left standing with anything to their name, with any assets or any food. It could really get that ugly. But let's talk about what we need to talk about here. $2,000 checks. Many people are still rooting for this. It's not going to change things in the grand scheme until you stop the inflation monster. Right? We wouldn't need to send out any checks to anyone if the bankers that are running this entire crooked system would just let deflation happen. Let prices come down, supply and demand, natural market forces would take over, rents would drop, home prices would drop. You'd also have to stop the fractional reserve banking. Banks should not be allowed to lend out money that they don't have, money that doesn't exist. They shouldn't be allowed to digitize debt or loans into existence. Why? Because that causes the demand side to increase, and unless you have a likewise increase in home building, you're going to see a disruption there in the supply versus demand. Right? They can't print homes out of thin air like they can create these loans out of thin air or create money out of thin air. So therefore you have demand outweighing supply. What would happen if we went back to a sound money system? Well, you would see crashing prices. Right? Rents would go down. Home prices would go down. Prices would be dropping across the board because all that demand would get taken away. So they're going to continue to prop this up. And unless you're betting against the debt, you're going to get left behind. And millions of people, not everyone is invested in the markets. Not everyone had bought cryptos back when the big price dip happened. And not everyone's seeing 500, 600% returns like a lot of people that did buy these cryptos. Or people that bought the dip back in the stock market, or people that bought minor stocks, right, in precious metals. Not everyone is investing. Actually, most people that do invest are just passive investors. They may have a 401k. They may have a few stocks here to get some dividends paid out, and over the long term they may make some percentage gains on these stocks. But most people are not investing strategically enough or heavy enough to really keep up in this crazy inflation that we're seeing, that the bankers are creating and are continuing to push. Okay, but this relief package is going to do a few things. It's going to extend the unemployment benefits. It's going to fund government agencies through September of 2021. Boo. Anybody say boo? Can we defund the government, please? Can we defund these politicians that continue to pass the ball back and forth? And it's always blame the other side, blame the other side, blame the other side. All right, this economy needs something much, much bigger than a stimulus check or enhanced unemployment benefits or loan forgiveness or delays on the loan payments. This system needs to collapse, and we need to go back to something different. And that would include getting rid of a lot of the, not just the pork and the foreign aid, but a lot of the domestic programs that we have here right now. And that you would also have to have in that system a lot less people sitting in their suits discussing laws and voting on these bills. Yeah, a lot less politicians. All right, let's get into some charts here, like we like to do on this channel. This is the average hourly earnings of production and non-supervisory employees. So this gives you a snapshot of the frontline employee, a less look at upper management and the CEOs and people at the higher end of the company, but more frontline workers. And what we see here since the lockdown recession began is we see a dip in average hourly earnings, right? So the people that were lucky enough to keep their jobs, a lot of them are seeing hours cut and pay cuts, right? And this is in dollars per hour. So it did get up to about $25.12. We dipped back down to about $24.64. And now we're up to $24.87. So we're below pre-shutdown numbers right now as far as hourly wages. But keep in mind, that's the people that were lucky enough to keep their jobs. We still have millions of people still dependent on an unemployment check. A lot of people just waiting, sitting, waiting, crossing their fingers for a stimulus check. Not a good situation to be in. It's an entirely failed financial system. The economy is absolutely, it's devastated, and there's no fixing this economy. They can try to keep people from becoming homeless, keep people with roofs over their heads, but for how long, right? Something big, something major needs to happen. Otherwise, when the checks stop getting sent out, you're going to see millions and millions of people in a very, very desperate situation. And that's going to be dangerous for everyone, even if you're doing well financially. It's going to be dangerous for you. It's going to be dangerous for me. A nation full of desperate people with nothing to lose. When people get to the end and when they don't have anything to eat, when they're desperate, they're going to come after what you have accumulated or what you've earned. And that's why we all need to be very, very cautious right now. All right, hopefully something big will happen to get us out of this mess. But what's being discussed right now, stimulus checks, enhanced unemployment benefits, none of these are solutions. It's rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. If you're not preparing right now, you may want to rethink your strategy. A lot of people are out there still thinking that we're going to have this amazing recovery, that, oh, if it weren't for the shutdowns and the lockdowns, everything would be just fine. No, this system began failing a long time ago. This economic system, it's a Ponzi scheme. It's one big bubble pumped up by endless cash creation, endless money printing, the money masters. So what else is happening that's really not going to help anything in the grand scheme of things in the long run? Well, 20 states are raising the minimum wage effective on January 1st. Here in Florida, I shouldn't say here in Florida, over in Florida, they're going to be raising the minimum wage gradually. So it's going to be $15 an hour by 2026. Well, great. And what's going to happen here in the near term in Florida anyways, the lowest earning workers earning $8.56 per hour will move up to $8.65 an hour on January 1st. Wow, that's almost 10 cents per hour. All right, who can afford to move out of their parents' basement for $8-something an hour? And I can't believe it's that low. Is it really $8-something an hour in Florida? Yes. $8.46 an hour. Who can survive on $8-something an hour? All right, no wonder there's so many people that go out and try to find other ways to make money, if you know what I mean. Maybe growing stuff or growing stuff and rolling up stuff, you know what I mean? All right, so people get pushed into sometimes a life of crime just to get by, just to live or be able to afford food. And then the criminal justice system, the prison industrial complex, gobbles these people up. That's why the United States is the world's largest prison population. All right, this country is a mess, folks. The system's a mess. Something big's got to happen soon. Otherwise, we're going to see Armageddon, Mad Max, and it's going to get real dangerous. Keep on preparing, everybody. Stay well, stay safe, and especially stay prepared. Bye for now. Peace.